Hi, welcome
Hi,
to the Motherhood channel. I'm Tanya Meeks,
and I'm Quinn Brown Huffman.
and we're excited. This is episode 4 of us
Yeah.
gathering, and we it was just the lunar eclipse, and we both changed our backgrounds to the space space station. But what we were talking about that we wanted to lead with today is how do people as mothers find their tribe, their
Mhm.
people they want to connect with when motherhood is such an can be such an isolating world. And we were just talking about it, but I was also just talking to my friend Teresa, who is a mom. Her daughter's like in her 20s. And she was like, I think the reason, and she has a very similar, like, go, 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 follow the adventure personality. And I was like, and she's like, but I think looking back, the reason I did that is because I was lonely on some level as a mother. So I kept us busy running to events to
Mhm.
fill. And I was like, oh, interesting. I don't think that I feel, but it was an interesting thing to look at. How do moms, where do you find your tribe as a mom? Like
Yeah,
once
that's
you're a
and
mom,
it's fascinated me too because I believe in tribe. I think it's everything for our sustainability as women, as mothers, to have that circle that you just get to be with, where
mhm,
your heart language is understood, where you can just plug in to recharge. And it's interesting because I had Charlotte and Laura in San Diego, which was a very different community than I ever anticipated being part of. It took me a really long time to find just a few places to really connect in. And so I tried a few of those mommy and me groups, but the
mhm.
chaos of it really just made me stay away. And then it was in the parks where the moms that could let their children run wild. Like these, I
Where
can
you
tell you
found
these
your
two
people.
moms that I, to this day, are still connected to. They're definitely part of my tribe.
Hmm.
And there was in our cul-de-sac that we stayed in suburbia that freaked me out so much. But the neighborhood was kind. I wouldn't say that they were tribe, but it was definitely um, to some degree nourishing.
Mhm.
And then when I came back to South Africa, when they were 5 and 2.5,
Hmm.
it was it was such a relief because it was my tribe that I had known
Mhm.
before I had children.
Yeah, yeah, your
They
original
know me,
people.
and we could, and there was people with children. There was those that's never going to have kids. There's like this whole um bucket load of people that I, as a person,
Mhm.
called my tribe. So that nourished me. So just full circle. Then I landed. Now I'm back in Santa Monica, and I'm looking
Oh,
for tribe again. So
and
the
you're still
question is
searching.
so
Yeah.
appropriate. How and where do you find them?
Because I feel like, because I think about my life, how before you were a mom did you find tribe? Like before you were a mom, like how and where did you find like your biggest tribe, would you say?
Yeah, because it
Area?
took me forever, and it happened only once I was doing what I was called to
What
do
you
and what I
loved.
loved. And it was as an actress,
Yeah.
I felt I was like, oh, here's people that understands me and I fit here and it makes sense here. Um,
Mm.
and then in San Francisco, it was through work, things I love to do that I found like-minded people.
So maybe it's interesting because I was trying to think, I was like, where did I find my people? And it was when I was in a performance program in San Francisco,
Mhm.
and performing. And then it's been when, yeah, when I'm standing in my true passion and like
Mhm.
following that full force. So I think if I break it apart, if when you're a mom, your focus is on your little being, your new little family tribe,
Yeah.
if we lose, not lose, but like the focus is turned on your
Yeah.
child, then you're not kind of watering or like navigating your own individual thing. So it's almost like how do you calibrate them together? Go, oh, I got this little tribe because I was
Mm.
thinking like how do because we were talking about mommy and me and I I have always liked intensity and crowds, and I'm an extrovert, but at Mommy Me, I really struggle. And I've tried to figure out, like, I can't put my finger on, like, why I get so, like, you go,
But
go.
I just this thought and this
Yeah,
thing
yeah, I
just
want to hear.
happened for me as we're talking, and it just feels true, and it feels true for me, and so maybe it'll feel true for you
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
someone else. But when we do pull focus away from us and just focus in onto these beings that we now suddenly responsible for, and we are trying to create a world where they can go find things,
Hmm.
we are unplugging ourselves from a source that fuels us. Our children are locked into us for power. We are their source until at least the age of 7. We are their sole source. And that's why that early years are so overwhelming, even
Yeah,
if
yeah,
we recognize it or not. So if we do not stay plugged into something that fuels and fills our cup, whether it's, but some women it's their work, some it's their hobbies or their craft or
yeah,
some
yeah.
alone time or spa time or girl time or what, but something. So that's the mommy and me space where it becomes all around crafts for the kids. I mean, I can't personally, I really struggle in that space. Um,
But I
and I
think it's
think it's
because
for the
it's
reason.
moms. Yeah, yeah. Go,
Yeah.
go. I'm all excited too.
So
I'm like, oh.
what the thought that I came up with now was, if we can understand that we are their power source and they are learning from us. So
Mhm.
if we have home and things also set up at their level, but when we are at a mommy and me, or we are in a space, making sure that we are still surrounded by something, or we're plugging into what is it that we love to do,
Mhm.
so that the crafts and things are, have a big canvas for the mom and a small canvas for the baby, and
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
just
So both
go
people
nuts
are
or
creating.
something, or music in that way, or I mean, now I'm just
No, I get.
brainstorming.
Yeah, yeah. No, I get
But
it. Because when Sparrow was little, I was loved the Artist Way, so I had led an Artist Way group. So I was like, oh, I'll do this. Julia Cameron came out with. I don't even know what year she came up, but I was like, oh, there's a parent one. I'll run one as a parent and child, and we'll have like in my home. But Sparrow was like little, like under a year, and then I couldn't have like older kids if I was going to have Sparrow participate because he was little. So then it didn't really work for that age. But I was thinking like doing that with moms and kids would be really powerful. Might pull that one back
I
out.
tell
But
you something, when I got to raise my kids in South Africa for their primary years
yeah,
of
yeah.
this time that I'm talking about, because now they're both over 7, is that we got to sit as women around a table
Mm,
with food and conversation and wine if we wanted to, and we could download and talk with one another from the heart space, because there was space, because the kids were running in the backyard, they
and you
were
had
playing, and
freedom.
they were ages from 1 through 10. So there was all this interaction between them with each other, and sure, we were constantly having to go and help one or the other. It was up and down the way
It was
mothers
like
do,
it was like an interrupted flow, but there was still a flow because they had this freedom to
to
be and
run wild a little bit.
play and run and like have their own space. Because
And
I know
kids need that too, yeah,
they
where they're not
do.
constant adult supervision. It's too much for their nervous systems too. They need that unwitnessed time from us to just have one another to play off and to figure it out too. I mean, we would listen to fights erupt and literally all just give each other the eye as moms and go, let's see where this goes. And to
Yeah,
have
yeah,
enough trust in each other as moms to go, I think our value systems, because we're tribe, lies in a space where we can trust one another that our kids are going to figure this out. And then I would say 80% of the time, they could figure it out.
yeah,
And it
yeah,
was quite stunning. And that's the tribe I would want every woman to find.
yeah, yeah,
And that's, I recognize that the more women I meet, it takes time. It takes time to find it, if ever, and it shouldn't be that hard. It's
yeah. That's
almost
what
like
I'm
we
trying
need
to
to
put my.
stop being so hard on ourselves and each other.
I know, but I feel like there needs to be a space where it's like Sparrow's going to this like a homeschooling hub called Thrive, where you can kind of like a college hub where you can pick and choose their classes. And then, we're in a ceramics class. And I was like, oh, it kind of works because there's a whole age range, but then they're all doing the same. They all are like, oh, we love ceramics. So then these kids of different ages can come together and create. But it's kind of like you almost need a mom gathering where there's like arts and crafts, acting, science, a lot, like a little pod where you can go, oh, you like these things. Not that people aren't more complex than that, but if I could pick and choose, I'd be like, oh, I want to be in the storytelling, writing, creative,
Right?
artsy
Why
pod.
shouldn't we be picking what we are drawn to from the moment we start learning, and carry on that
But
way?
even for the
Because
moms to have like, oh, which kind
exactly.
of pod do you want to be in, rather than just being like, oh, I'm gonna go to, yeah, whatever. I mean, yeah, it's been
Yeah.
an interesting thing to like, and we've talked about this a lot of like, I said I felt like when I had Sparrow, like my DNA changed, which is
Yeah, I did.
true. So you're recalibrating, but then it's like you still have your own DNA that needs to like
Stay,
spread
yeah.
and swirl and like
Mm.
flourish. So how did those two pieces dance together and both like um enrich each other? Like it's a complementary dance. It's not like, oh, I have to go do my dance because I have to refuel over here because I'm running on empty. I feel like that's kind of like the mom.
That's what a lot of people have to end up doing because of the way the world's set up. I think I've been so blessed with my kids because they're friends that they end up picking or gelling with. Their moms, I'm like, thank goodness.
Yeah, yeah,
We
no, I
can.
get it.
And
Yeah.
so, I mean, from Charlotte's first friend in preschool, her mom became, she is my, I mean, we're so close.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think there's anyone else that really on the level that she gets me, or as a mom and as a sister. It's a gift from my daughter. And then
Yeah, yeah, of who she chose.
um and I see that same thing happening again here now. Her friend that she made, her mom also,
Oh,
uh
I love
an
that.
immediate connection that I can see. It's going to be easy to navigate life here if you're in, if I can have some time with you as a mom too, and the kids can play. And then so it's happening more because I'm also really picky now because I know what it feels like when you're in that space just trying to cope and it doesn't fit if it's not tribe. No, we don't all, as humans, we think we're all going to fit everywhere. We don't.
We really don't.
We really don't, and it's okay. That's why, don't just settle for anything because someone says, "Oh, this is really uh the thing to do," or our kids need this stimulation, or everyone should know how
Socialization or
to
because I think
read at this age or whatever. Like, stop, just
I
take a
think
breath.
everybody's personality and your family unit may need something different. And that may
Absolutely.
look wildly different for everybody, But I feel like
Why we
everybody's
need
trying to like,
diversity.
yeah,
I
trying
celebrate
to
that.
like fit themselves into these things. And I'm like, I
And
want
you
to be
can
like that.
feel when people do, when they are trying to check a box, when they're trying to fit in
Yeah, yeah,
somewhere that it just is like a square in a round hole, and the tension it creates for them and their children. It's
yeah.
hard to watch. It's hard to be
It's hard
around.
to watch. Yeah, yeah.
I just
It's
want to give
fascinating
everyone permission to find what works for them.
though.
And it kind of goes back to what we talked about before around intuition,
Yeah.
and not to settle just because that's the only thing available, or
hmm
um it's the to do thing or it's the right thing.
Yeah.
That's,
Fascinating, huh?
I mean, it is, and it's not easy, it's not, it's really not easy.
What would your I was like, I want us to, did you get my message? Or I was like, I want us to play our moms. We don't have to do that right now, but I'm curious of like, what would your mom's riff
Mm,
on this be? Because I was trying to think, I've like, even though, yeah,
yeah, what would my mom's riff be on this? Yeah, I think my mom is uh she's a tribeswoman. She's like the leader, she's always put together the spaces where I would witness her with friends baking or cooking or drinking wine or
Gathering.
gathering. So throughout my life, different people have come and gone. There's been a few consistent
Yeah,
that's,
yeah.
has been part of our life forever, but I've seen her throughout her life having these women come and be part of her inner circle.
Hmm.
To talk about an inner circle, I think she would also say, follow what makes you feel good. So she's an avid reader. I mean, if I'm saying avid, I mean
Yeah.
avid. She reads. And I might be underplaying it, maybe 3 books a week.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
oh no,
Yeah, yeah.
she's a reviewer also. So she's got her own thing, Salome Book Chats with Salome. She reviews
Oh,
books, and
wow. Interesting.
she should be writing her own. If you're listening, Mom, you should be writing
Yeah,
your own.
exactly. We're like, and I think your love of books may
You can
translate
almost guarantee
to
that
write a
she's
book.
listening.
Yeah.
So that would be interesting if I play her, how she would
Yeah.
feel about that. But she's definitely been part of the teacher in my life, and showing me what it's like to stay plugged into a sisterhood, to a tribe, and how important and how it does fuel you through good and hard times. I think she's just such a believer in it. So my understanding of it is definitely fueled by her
That place.
example. Mm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think she likes to be a lot more prepared when she speaks. So she would have like a speech that she's written out.
We have it sorted out, like
It's
pre-organized.
not like me that's just off the cuff. Let's see what comes out
Let's
of my
record
mouth.
and see what happens. Yeah, yeah, like let's do it. Which is
How
why
about
this
your
works
mom?
for both. My mom, it's funny because my mom didn't do kid things. And I feel like I look back and I was like, I didn't watch cartoons, I didn't go to amusement parks, I didn't. And I had this like kind of judgment, basically a judgment a little bit, like, but I liked being with adult. Like I feel like maybe I was just parentified, but or maybe I did just genuinely like that as kid. Who knows? But now when I'm at those quote unquote kid things, I'm like, oh, I hear ya. This is like
It's
this is
not that
yeah,
fun.
that's not that no wonder. Like you weren't just like because I look back and I think she, it's funny when my dad passed away, we saw my cousin who my grandma's sister's daughter, and my mom, she was more like my aunt. So we called her Aunt Ginger. She wasn't, but she's a cousin. Doesn't matter who she was. Oh, it doesn't matter technically how she was related, but she was like my aunt. And so when I hadn't seen her daughter Tina in years, and my dad passed away, and we connected with her and saw her, and Sparrow was doing something, and she was like, "You're doing the same thing your mom did. Like you were your mom's little boss," and like just she had this whole thing, and she's like, "Your mom just like adored you, like you were her sun, the moon, and the stars." And I was like, "But no, it's gonna
Oh,
be."
I see you. Yeah. No, honey.
No, I cry. But I think there was this part where I was like, with being a therapist and with like working with families, like the mother loving, truly loving their kid, like in their bones, like loving them. Even if
Mm.
it's not perfect, the whole shindig that they have going on, the love is like this resonant thing that really provides this thread that creates resiliency in kids.
Oh, yes, that's
And
beautiful.
so, even though I think my mom, because of her trauma and unresolved stuff, made some choices that weren't ideal by any stretch of the imagination, but at the same time, like her drive was that she loved me and that she would do anything for me because she loved me so much. So even though she didn't want to go to like an amusement park, I mean, we did do it. Like we went to Chuck E. Cheese once in Kings Island, but I can count, like it was like a big deal. Like it was like and maybe it was partially financial. I mean, I think there was a lot of factors, but I think genuinely she did so much with me, but she didn't like doing some of those. She just didn't, like,
I don't blame her. I don't like it.
And I don't either. That's what's fascinating. Like I get to these things and I'm like, wow, okay, like I don't like this either, and I do a ton with him. And I think I've gotten feedback of like, you're trying to do the pieces you missed. And I'm like, no, I actually really love being adventurous. So yeah, we do a lot of like go to the Hotel Dell and carve a pumpkin because it's beautiful there and I love the Dell, but I'm not just carving a pumpkin, like
Yeah.
there's some sort of aesthetic and reason
Hmm.
that I picked that because it's beautiful. You can go to the beach. It's a beautiful setting. It's not total mayhem. It's kind of somewhat contained. It's a smaller shindig. I lost my train of thought of what I was trying to say, but I feel like my mom would be like, just do what you hold on. We got a kitty break. Hold on. We
And
adopted a new kitty that is a kitty. So sometimes
oh
there's
yeah, I get it. We also have
the
kittens.
kitty, the kitty.
Ah, little
but
toddlers.
I but I feel like that my mom, the piece that I hear her say to me is do what you love and Sparrow will be happy. Because I constantly, for my mom, as she got older, she loved design. She decorated and had this real creativity that never really got like an outward. She didn't do that as a career, but she could have. Like she like designed flowers and had fake flower arrangements like everywhere and decorated like aesthetically. It was like very beautiful. And I was like, mom, go. I always wanted her to like take a flower arrangement, and do what she loved. Like as I got older, I was like, no, I want you to do these things you love because you're not always doing what you love because you're sustaining things. So I
I
hear
see
what,
that even my girls now that have language and some experience of me in this world, because
yeah, yeah,
they're almost 9 and almost 12, and it's fascinating the space we are in now because they are so clear in their communication. It's kind of daunting.
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
and they hold me accountable because they see the difference when I do what I love and when I'm spending time in with people and in ways that I feel good in. They reap the benefit and they speak
Totally.
it out loud. They'll say, you should be doing this, mom, because you are a better person when you do this.
Yeah. What are some of the things? What are they saying to do?
Well,
I'm just curious.
they would say, have you, are you, when are you going to be acting again? Because you're so
Mm,
much nicer when you're an actress. Or have you meditated? Or,
yeah,
when I have my retreat coming up in Costa Rica, they're jealous, but they're so aware of how
totally.
filled and full I came back. And oh yeah, just different. Yeah, those are the examples that's coming up right now, but the things that I
Yeah.
so specifically nourish myself with, they now have been witness of and see the difference.
And see you coming
Yeah.
back. And that, so I feel like the key piece is like, if we do what we love and stand in our truth, like our truest truth, even the scary things we love that we need to do, whatever that looks like, then our system, our nervous system, and our kids' nervous system are much happier. But I think there's this idea that we're not allowed to do that, or there's not the ability to do both.
Exactly.
And that's what I think I feel in like some mom gatherings is that people aren't standing in their space, whatever that is, whether they want to cook or garden or organize their closet. I don't care what thing that they love to do that they're now not doing. And I think with COVID and stuff, when I stopped running the show fully, there was a piece missing. So I was like, how can I stand in that and start making sure that I do those pieces, like no matter what, no matter how or where I'm doing those,
Yeah.
that would be more does that make sense? So
It
like,
does. No, and you said it so beautifully. And then to complete the thought into that is when you will naturally bring your tribe into your orbit.
yeah,
I've had a few clients that the isolation was their biggest um protagonist. Like that was the
mhm,
hardest part of their story as young mothers, was this isolation. And as we coached and we worked through coming back to what is your truth, what
yeah,
is your values, come back to what makes you feel more whole. it's so fun and so beautiful to watch because inevitably the tribe starts showing up. And
Yeah.
there's no way that I could say, oh, go here or do that and you'll find them. It starts with that internal plug into what makes you feel good or whole or
And
in
any of those nudges,
emotion
to
with,
follow those nudges, those things that
yeah.
are like, oh, I want to go to this place because of whatever, like, and then see what develops from each of those little baby steps. Usually lead to
Exactly.
bigger.
I love to say follow the dots. Just,
Oh
you know,
yeah, yeah.
dot the picture with the dots and then complete it and you'll have what you thought you never wanted, or the nevers becomes the evers, or the
Mhm.
phone calls that you never expected to have. Your phone will ring and someone will be on the line that you would never have thought as tribe, and they will be speaking right to your heart.
Mhm.
So unexpected. When we accept where we are,
Yeah.
the unexpected becomes so beautiful. Yeah, I see it over and over.
Mhm.
And I think you and I both stand in a space where we actively see the value of tribe and having sisters that shares this space with us, because we don't have it accessible right in this moment, just
Yeah.
now. And the more I feel we are stepping into honoring what makes us happy, like doing this show for you all,
Mhm.
more and more
I
tribes
know.
will show up. We'll find it. It's figuring itself out. So it's really fun. I really enjoy this space. It's good.
Yeah, me too. I was just thinking how our pieces have orbited together. Like I was just looking at like the image of the
I
planet,
know, it's so nice.
like the orbit, like we were, like I feel like we've orbited, but like we were both, you were in San Diego, I was in LA, and now I'm in San Diego and you're in LA. Then you went to South Africa and then I was kind of all over, so it's just an
Yeah.
interesting thing, but there's still this strong connection of
Mm,
like creativity and depth and motherhood and like trying to
mm.
palpably like translate these pieces that we're trying to like figure out the pieces of the puzzle, but the through line is like heart and love and intuition and creativity, and we're both two creative souls that are also trying to figure it all, like trying to like do the deep dive of figuring it all out. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Like,
Yeah, it does. It's
yeah,
exactly that.
yeah. So I'm
So beautiful.
grateful and love, like I want to hold, like I love that we're doing this. It's exciting, and I also want to hold space for you to like stand in your big artist self, your all of those big dreams, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
So,
Oh, and just ditto. It's the same. And it's such a privilege.
yeah.
Laugh fest over here. And that is, it's true. It's like where you find the space where you feel the words you speak it's being heard. And in it being heard, it starts making sense. That feels like tribe. That feels like a really potent space we should all allow ourselves to be in more of the time,
Mhm.
because isolation is the sense of feeling misunderstood, or not heard or not seen. And so I really appreciate you seeing me and hearing me, and everyone that's listening, the more you hear and feel into the space and come back again and again with us, be part of the conversation. We love to hear from you and
Mhm.
hear how this moves you or ignites a question or makes you curious, or let us hear from you. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Any of your experiences, like what what ripples in you through hearing this? Like what gets ignite, like, yeah. I want to hear all the little pieces that get brought up and constellated and all that jazz. So
All that
I think
jazz.
next week we should do like a little perform or something. We should improv something, anything,
Okay.
and see how that, and we'll include that. We can
Okay.
both show up as like our creative
Muses or
selves
something.
and see what happens. So you can just
Hmm.
play with different ideas. It'll be fun. So,
different parts of ourselves might start showing up here. It will always be
yeah,
personalized and it will always be true. But it might
sure.
just have a little wardrobe change of some kind.
You never
Who
know,
knows?
but it'll always be true. Exactly. That's like our
Exactly.
biggest, I feel like the
Yeah.
truth of it all. The truth of
Mm.
motherhood for real.
Thanks for joining our channel and for being here. It's our pleasure. I love spending this time with you, Tanya, and with
I really am
everyone.
grateful for that. I really am like honored and
Yeah,
grateful.
me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Love
Okay.
it. Love it. Love it.
Big love
Love
to
to
you all.
everyone.
Okay. Bye.